Well, Joe Biden has vowed that the US will respond after 3 American soldiers were killed in a drone attack on a military base in Jordan, which the Iranian-backed Islamic resistance in Iraq has claimed responsibility for.
Yes, so Iran has denied any involvement in the attack, but both Foreign Secretary Lord Cameron and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak have called on Iran to de-escalate in the region.
Meanwhile, former US President Donald Trump has warned we're on the brink of World War III. He blamed current President Joe Biden's weakness and surrender for allowing this attack to happen.
Strong stuff from Donald Trump. Let's speak to former British Army officer Major General Tim Cross. Tim, How much of a threat, thank you for joining us, how much of a threat is Iran?
I don't think there's any doubt. It is a threat. Like all these things, you have to look at capability and capacity and so forth, and intent. I don't think Iran wants a major conflict with the US or the West. I mean, it is clearly got its troubles internally, but nonetheless, it has got strong links to all of these groups like Hezbollah and others, and is arming them and encouraging them to do what they're doing. It's very difficult to see whether or not you can take out all of these insurgent groups that are around that, that part of the Middle East. It's very, very difficult. And these airstrikes and so forth are making an impact, and they're degrading capability and so forth. But we're never going to take it away. So Iran is going to continue to arm them. Iran is going to continue to encourage them, but they don't want a major conflict. The problem is, and this may be part of this attack yesterday, I mean, the Americans have been attacked about 100 times or over 100 times by various groups in the Middle East. The problem is you get accidents, you get mistakes, and you get things begin to spiral out of control. Now, I don't happen to believe that a lot of people are saying we're in the 1930s, 1937 and so forth, danger of World War III and so on. I don't think we're in that position yet. But there's no doubt that the dangers are increasing, and the world is a much more difficult place than it was, 5 years ago.
There's also this new sense of a tangled web of alliances, perhaps not directly similar to, but in some senses similar to the way that the world was in the lead up to the First World War. We see all of these alliances in the West, but also this crucial link between Russia, Iran and China, trading with each other, selling each other energy, selling each other arms. And frankly, these are countries that are fairly paranoid. China's economy is weakening. Iran has internal dissent. Is the way that they try and galvanise their country, unite their country, through military action?
Yeah, that's true. But one country you haven't mentioned is North Korea. And to be honest, North Korea worries me more than those three, because notwithstanding the fact that, I don't like Putin much or those other regimes, nonetheless, they are part of the international system. They do understand and engage with, the other international players. North Korea is more of a rogue nation, in my view, than those others. Now, linked to this, the run-up to the First World War, I think, is quite a good example. It is different today. I mean, at the end of the day, those alliances on both sides, so our agreements with France and Russia and so forth, and all that, flowed into that at the outbreak of World War I, I don't think those alliances, other than the NATO alliance, are that powerful today. But nonetheless, one of the problems in the West is we don't understand what we stand for. There's a great quote by Sun Tzu, who wrote it about 4,000 years, that if you understand the enemy and you understand yourself, you need not fear the outcome of 1,000 battles. Now, we don't really understand what's going on in places like Russia and Iran and so forth, but we have a pretty good feel for it, and there are good strategic politicians and diplomats and so on. But for me, one of the problems is we don't understand ourselves in the West. What do we stand for? What are we prepared to stand up for? Where are we prepared to draw lines and so on? And, we've been through a period, and one's got to be careful about how one voices these things, but we have been through a period where there's a lot of media and a lot of other pressures saying, our heritage as Britain is rotten, our empire was lousy, we should be ashamed of ourselves, we shouldn't fly the flag, and all that sort of stuff. And that has an impact. It undermines the sense of who we stand for. And we shouldn't forget that I think now majority of the world is living under non-democratic regimes, living under people like Putin and the regimes in China and Iran and so on. And we in the West, I think we're in trouble. I think we need to regain a sense of what's important to us and where are we prepared to stand and when are we prepared to use force. And the trouble is we sort of dribble our way into this, and the dangers, as I say, we lose control, accidents happen, and suddenly we find ourselves in places where we wouldn't want to be.
Really interesting you raised that issue of not knowing who exactly we are and where the lines are to be drawn. Thank you very much, former British Army officer Major General Tim Cross. Really great to speak to you.